Bitcoin had a very strong bounce off its lows and is now back around its old all-time high. Does this mean that we will see a new all-time high very soon in the charts? Is our wave 4 finally complete? And if so, how do we find targets for new all-time highs in the market? This is exactly what I will cover in this update, so stay tuned and focused. So, before we get into today's price action, what happened on this drop? If you remember in our last update, I said that if price was to lose this low, we would probably see a bigger correction in Bitcoin. This is exactly what happened, as we got a drop to 60,000 before seeing a reversal in price. Then, what happened on this low? Well, this low was actually a bit less focused on technical analysis, but more around market psychology. So during this drop, we did actually get a very nice reset in the funding rates, and overall, people were pretty fearful. Then, most people that wanted to look for longs actually wanted to see a break below 60,000 and also possibly a break below this wick in order to look for their longs. So what happened is very simply, price dropped to 60,000, actually front ran this level, so bottomed at 60,800, and this is when you saw the reversal. On top of that, near this low, as I updated on our Discord, we did get FUD that was being spread on social medias. And this is exactly what you want to see before a reversal. So after those bad news, I won't dive into them as they're not too important in my opinion. But after those bad news, what we got is a very aggressive drop on the lower time frames as people were selling and opening shorts out of fear, but eventually they got squeezed out. And that's why you got this dump and pump in the charts. So that's mostly what happened on this drop and why we got the reversal to today. But today Bitcoin is showing a bit of weakness. So as you can see, we got the first high at 71,200, then price took the high, then dumped. Then again, the second high got taken out and now Bitcoin is going lower. So, is this a sign of weakness before we see much lower prices in the charts? Or is this just a small correction before we see another leg up in Bitcoin? Well, as usual, let's look for levels. In my opinion, very simply, if you add the volume on your charts, what you will see is that we have a very high volume candle and a very big candle as well on the 1 hour chart. So in my opinion, if price is to lose the area of this candle, so for example, if price does this, then I would expect lower prices because overall I want to see the area of this candle, which is this one by the way. So overall, I don't want to see price lose the low of this candle and flip it into resistance. If it does, then personally I would have reasons to expect lower prices. But at this point, as price is still above the support area, I personally don't see many reasons to be bearish on Bitcoin. So this being said, let's now move on to our targets. And very quickly, actually, one last point is that I have seen some people, because if that's the low of our job, very simply, that's the low of our wave 4. Some people have been asking, how could this be the low of wave 4 if we don't have an impulse of the lows? Because at first glance, if you look at this impulse, it does look like a 3-wave move, which is not an impulse but a corrective move. But actually, the way I would count this move is actually that we have a truncated wave 5. So very simply, we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a truncated wave 5. Now, truncated waves are very uncommon, but they're not impossible to have on the charts. So very simply on this low, that's personally how I would see it. So again, you have our Elliott wave count that I shared before. You have the 1, 2, 3, that's our wave 4. And then on the lower time frame, wave 4 was completed. We have our impulsive wave 1 in a 5-wave move. However, the wave 5 is truncated. So now, price action aside, how do you find targets for new all-time highs on Bitcoin? Because very simply, even if we have another drop on Bitcoin, this, in my opinion, is very easily not the all-time high of this market. We do have new highs that will come in the future, but you need to be ready for them. So in general, we have two main ways to look for targets for moves in the market. So the first one would be to use Fibonacci extensions, and the second one would be to use Fib expansions, and I'll show you how. And usually for those, it would be very nice for you to understand Elliott waves, but if you don't worry, we do have courses coming out on them very soon. In the meantime, we do have other very important courses that you can look at. But for now, the way you would find targets for moves in the market is to look for relations in the waves. I'll show you how. So the first one is very simply, again, if you go back to our account, we have wave 1, 2, and we are now up in the wave 3. And a very common target for wave 3s in the market would be to look for the extension of the wave 1, and the target would be, so if I just go on the log scale, again, you take the extension, so you take the length of wave 1 to the bottom of wave 2, and the target for the wave 3 would be the 1.618 of the Fib extension. So as you can see at this point, our first target would be at 77,600. But one confluence is not enough in my opinion, so let's try to find at least one more. So we have our first level at 77.5k, just note this one in your head, and let's look for other extensions. The other way to look at Elliott waves relationships would be to be between the wave 1 and wave 5, especially when wave 3 is the extended wave. So as you can see, in that case, you have the wave 1, and then you can see that the wave 3 extended past the 1.618, so wave 3 is extended. So then for wave 5, it would usually be equal to wave 1 or smaller than the wave 1. So the first target would be the 0.618, and the second target would be the 1 to 1. So very simply, we take the length of the wave 1, we extend it to wave 4, and as the first target got hit, very simply, you look at the second target, which is the 1 to 1 once again, which is sitting at 81,000. So at this point, we don't have much confluence in levels, but we do have two targets. So the first one would be around 77,000 and the second one around 81,000. So then, as we don't have confluence between Fib extensions, let's look at Fib expansions. For this one, it's actually very simple. All you do is you take it from the high to the low of the drop, and the first expansion that I like to look at would be this one. It would be the 1.272 and the 1.3414. And as you can see in that case, this one actually also comes around 77,000. So a quick reminder, if I go back on log scale and take the wave 1 to the bottom of wave 2, just fix it right here, so wave 1 to wave 2. So as you can see in that case, we do have a confluence. We have our first target for wave 3, which is the 1.618, and we also have the Fib expansion also at 77,000. So overall, that's how you find targets in markets, and personally, this is the first target that I have on Bitcoin. It would be between 75,000 and 80,000 because as you can see, we do have a bit of confluence between those two levels. And for higher targets, what I want you to do is to find other levels of Fibonacci extensions and Fibonacci expansions. Train with them, find different levels, and note them on your chart. I would not really advise you to trade around them. For now, just note them on your chart and see which ones get respected and which ones don't. And quickly, I'll give you one example from the past to show you how they work. So in this case, as you can see, we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, if you relate wave 1 and wave 5, what you will see, wave 5 pretty much reached the 0.618, which is where we got the all-time high from 2021. So overall, that's how you would find targets for moves in the market. So again, your two main tools would be the Fibonacci extension and the Fibonacci expansion. So that was mostly it for this update. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And as always, if you have any questions, I'm available inside of the Discord. So see you soon guys, and good luck.